The United States Capitol is tense, its marble halls echoing with a sense of anticipation and unease. But this tension isn't from the usual political squabbles or partisan maneuvering that so often defines Washington. Today, the House faces a reckoning with the ghost of Jeffrey Epstein, a name that haunts the corridors of power and whispers of secrets long buried. Lawmakers move with nervous energy, glancing at their phones and each other, knowing a vote is coming that leadership never wanted to see on the floor. This isn't a typical day. Partisan lines have blurred, replaced by a rare bipartisan demand: transparency and accountability, no matter the cost. Both Democrats and Republicans, often at odds, now stand united in their call to release every government file on Epstein and his network. The implications are enormous, reaching far beyond party politics. For months, this issue simmered quietly in the background. Now, it's boiling over into the public eye, impossible to ignore. The vote is a direct challenge to Speaker Mike Johnson's authority, putting his leadership and credibility on the line. The galleries are packed, every seat filled. Staffers and journalists sense history in the making, their eyes fixed on the chamber below. This is more than a vote on documents. It's a test of who Congress truly serves, the public's right to know, or the powerful interests that prefer the shadows. The question looms: what secrets will be unearthed if the vote succeeds? Whose names, whose actions, will finally come to light? Speaker Johnson stands at a crossroads, caught between his party's base, Trump's pressure, and a rebellion within his own ranks. The stakes have never felt higher. He tried to stop this, working the backrooms and making deals, but the push for truth proved stronger than any political calculation. The vote on the Epstein files has arrived, a moment of reckoning for the Speaker, for Congress, and for the nation's trust in its institutions. The Capitol holds its breath, waiting for the dam of secrecy to break, and for the truth, whatever it may be, to finally emerge. Speaker Mike Johnson's handling of the Epstein issue has been a masterclass in political contortion, a high-wire act that's tested his leadership at every turn. Last summer, Johnson stood before the cameras and championed transparency, vowing to release every document related to Jeffrey Epstein. He made a public promise, assuring the American people that nothing would be hidden. The House Rules Committee quickly advanced a disclosure bill, signaling bipartisan momentum and raising hopes that long-shrouded secrets would finally see daylight. But within a week, Johnson abruptly reversed course, halting the process and offering only vague, unsatisfying reasons for the sudden change. The about-face left many in Washington stunned. The real reason soon became clear: pressure from Donald Trump, who wanted the Epstein story buried before it could damage his allies or himself. Johnson found himself caught in the crosshairs of Trump's demands. Johnson's own party was left bewildered and divided. Democrats, meanwhile, were outraged and accused him of a cover-up. He feared that if the bill reached the House floor, it would pass easily, with support from both sides of the aisle, including many Republicans. Such a public split would expose deep fractures within the GOP, threatening not just party unity, but Johnson's own grip on the speakership. Johnson was trapped between the MAGA base, who demanded full disclosure, and Trump, who insisted on silence. The pressure from both sides was relentless. His leadership became defined by this impossible balancing act as he tried to satisfy both factions without alienating either. Every attempt to delay or deflect only made the coming explosion more certain as the clock ticked down and pressure mounted from all directions. The Epstein vote became a symbol of his predicament, a political bomb he couldn't defuse no matter how hard he tried to contain it. Johnson projected strength and confidence for the cameras, but behind the scenes, his actions revealed deep uncertainty and fear. The rebellion within his own ranks only grew louder as more Republicans questioned his decisions and motives. The more he tried to control the process, the more he seemed to lose his grip as chaos threatened to overtake order. In the end, the vote threatened not just to release files, but to expose Johnson's own powerlessness, a stark reminder of the limits of leadership in a divided House. When leadership blocked the path, lawmakers forged a new one. Frustrated by Johnson's stonewalling, a bipartisan group turned to the discharge petition, a tool to force a bill to the floor. Representatives Thomas Massey, a conservative Republican, and Ro Khanna, a progressive Democrat, led the charge. Their unlikely partnership showed that the demand for truth transcended party lines. Gathering signatures was slow and risky. Signing meant defying leadership and Trump. But as signatures grew, so did momentum. The petition became a symbol of defiance and transparency. Every new signature cracked Johnson's wall of obstruction. The Speaker could control the calendar, but not the will of a determined majority. The bipartisan rebellion was closing in on the 218 signatures needed to force the vote. As momentum built, Trump launched a campaign to kill the Epstein bill. He called it a Democratic hoax and pressured Republicans to fall in line. Trump's personal involvement was clear. He targeted GOP lawmakers, especially women, to withdraw support. The threat of being labeled a rhino or facing a primary challenge loomed large. In a panic, GOP leaders canceled votes to avoid a public floor fight. The move backfired, only emboldening the rebels. Johnson blamed Massey, but the pain was self-inflicted. New evidence linking Trump to Epstein fueled calls for transparency. The pressure from Mar-a-Lago met a stronger force, bipartisan demand for accountability. A historic 43-day government shutdown froze Washington and the Epstein bill. The discharge petition stalled at 218 signatures, one short of the needed 218. The missing piece, Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva, who couldn't be sworn in until the shutdown ended. The delay gave Johnson a brief reprieve. When the government reopened, Grijalva was sworn in and immediately signed the petition. The rebellion had its final signature. The petition was now complete. No more procedural tricks, no more delays. The House was required to bring the bill to the floor. The shutdown's unintended consequence: a single new member became the catalyst for a political reckoning. The Speaker's last escape route vanished. The stage was set for a historic vote. With the petition filed, the House dynamic shifted. The question became, how many Republicans would break ranks? Senior GOP members admitted the defections would be a flood, not a trickle. Publicly, more Republicans voiced support, knowing their constituents demanded answers. Voting against transparency on Epstein was politically indefensible. Democrats watched confidently, predicting a rush of GOP support. The Oversight Committee, led by Republican James Comer, subpoenaed Ghislaine Maxwell, showing the appetite for investigation was real. Momentum was unstoppable. Leadership could no longer ignore it. Facing reality, Johnson surrendered and scheduled the vote. He hadn't wanted this, but the bipartisan coalition left him no choice. The floodgates were open. The vote was finally, unstoppably on its way. The vote marks a turning point, not just for Speaker Johnson, but for the nation as a whole. In this moment, the eyes of the country are fixed on the Capitol, waiting to see if accountability will finally prevail over secrecy and political calculation. The Epstein saga, long shrouded in secrecy and speculation, faces its first real chance at public accountability. For years, the truth has been locked away, fueling rumors and distrust. Now the doors to justice are beginning to open. This is a rare victory for bipartisan cooperation in a hyper-partisan era, a moment when lawmakers from both sides set aside their differences for the greater good. It's a testament to what Congress can achieve when united by a common cause. The discharge petition, driven by Massey and Khanna, proves Congress can choose principle over party. Their unlikely alliance shows that integrity and transparency can still break through the gridlock of Washington. For Johnson, it's a public reckoning. His leadership exposed and overruled by his own members. The Speaker now faces the consequences of decisions made behind closed doors, as the nation watches his every move. The vote will reveal the limits of his authority and the deep divisions in his party. It's a test not just of leadership, but of the very fabric holding Congress together. Regardless of the outcome, this story will echo long after the roll is called. The decisions made here will shape the legacy of this Congress and the Speaker for years to come. It's a reminder that the demand for truth can become an unstoppable force, one that unites citizens and lawmakers alike in pursuit of justice and transparency. The political explosion has already happened, in the Speaker's office, on the House floor, and in the courage of 218 lawmakers who dared to challenge the status quo. The nation waits to see what secrets the Epstein files will finally reveal, and whether this moment will mark the beginning of a new era of openness in American government.